Hey guys, Diabor Disaster here, coming at you with my second of my like double or triple feature that I'm going to do for you deck profile wise. This time, I've mentioned a few times that I'm a setcon main, and I've mentioned it a lot of times in my testing games, and I'm going to go ahead and go over my setcon list currently. This was initially fashioned based on the list that won the PPG recently. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but I talked to him about some of his matchups, some of his choices, and a few of the things that I learned from him have stayed. There's a couple things I've changed based on my local meta and my experiences with these matchups, so I'm going to give you my take on the current list. So with that said, here we go. So the first thing we have here is the 4 Magna Angemon. This I'm not gonna lie, this has been one of my favorite cards ever since the game started. And if you've seen my earlier videos, this is I absolutely love this card. I need to get another alt art. Luckily I have a local who has that. But this card is just really good. 7 cost. It depends on the game state, obviously, but most of the time it's worth it to go ahead and drop it, because at least that way it is buffer to damage. And if it sticks, it's a body, and if it doesn't, you can bring it back later with Scythe. The next card is a personal tech that I'm using against wide matchups where you don't actually have like the memory to really afford a Death X, especially like in like the Bloom matchup. So I'm playing 2 Rapidmon. So I'm not playing the Patamons to go with this, or the Cody, currently. At the moment, these are just in here as assurable attackers, as well as an easy way to wipe a board with only 4 memory required. Since you play a ton of Tamers, you can sort of set this up against Bloom, provided you have the time. I'm playing 3 Salamon and 3 Harrismon. I am missing one at the moment. It has been in the mail for weeks, so, you know, TCG problems. But Harrismon is cracked. It's such a multi-purpose card. It's a card that gives you a card back from security. It's a pseudo Holy Flame. It is a rookie that I can Digivolve into, and then I can tactical retreat it back into the security if I want to, or I can just Digivolve it into Rapidmon when the time is right. Like, card is good. And the last Digimon is the obligatory 4 Death X. I was not expecting to have to actually play 4 of this card, but there are some matchups where Death X literally wins you the game. And there are also some games where your opponent has a gazillion Tamers, and you just drop all of them, and you just pressure them with 4 Digimon that are significantly harder to remove. So, honestly, like, it is a very strong card. And it is, you know, worth the respect and worth the hefty dollar to play 4. You could play 3. I would say if you're going to play 3, make sure you are playing Calling. I'm not playing Calling in this list. I feel like it is, it's a little bricky, and the only targets in the deck are Death X. So I feel like Matt is a better card here, which I am playing 1 copy of. It can not only just pull back Death X, but it can also pull back Scythe, because it is a purple option among the other purple options that I am also playing. We're playing 2 of the Memory Gain Kari. I was initially playing 1, like the list that this was based on, but this has actually come up a lot more often. Also, in the instances where I have used my Digi-Egg and it got deleted, I still have a yellow source that isn't deletable by the BT9 Mega Dramon that is played in Machine Dramon. So, I feel like actually having 2 of this card is relatively important. We're playing 4 purple Kari. This one can be traded in and out between 3 and 4 copies, as well as against Mimi, which I'm only playing 3 of. The only reason I think the purple Kari is more important here is because we're not playing stuff like Blade of the True, or any of the other good cheap options to go with us aside from Tactical Retreat. So I feel like Kari here is a little bit more worth the memory investment, and we're also not have a whole lot of matches where Mimi actually is going to come in against the opponent's plays. So sometimes you're just using her as a better extender, or just a cheap purple source, so that way you can Chaos Stake for basically 7. And then lastly, we're playing 2 Digimon Emperor. This card is insane. The amount of draw power you get from this card alone is really good, but this card existing on the field at all, especially in doubles against Hunter, it turns off the raising area basically entirely, because as you know, Hunter basically requires 2 memory at all times in order to play the game. And let's say they don't have Tagiru out and you are choking them at 2 by playing like Mimis or stuff, or you're reducing your scythe down to a mere like 4 cost and putting them at 1. The Digimon Emperor literally makes it to where they can't use their raising area, because they don't normally want to Digivolve in their raising area anyways. So this card is uniquely really good against Hunter. It's good against Crossheart. It's very good against Crossheart. And it gives you draw power in a deck that doesn't normally have it, while having to use stuff like Viximon and Blade of the True, which is a unfortunate dud if it's hit late in the security stack. So I think this card's just more consistent and better all the time, as opposed to cards that are better most of the time. And finally, the options. We are playing the 1 Reinforced Memory Boost. This card is cracked. I'd love to see it back at 4, but there's no freaking way. 4 Holy Wave, and we're playing 3 Tactical Retreat to help supplement our Harrismon plays, as well as it's a few other nifty uses. You can use this to unfreeze Magna Angemon against Blue Flare, so they don't keep you under their they're sort of locked with Metal Greymon, as well as it will reduce the amount of Digimon you have in play so that their Zeeg is not free, at least less often. That's our primary healing package. I guess you can technically consider Flame Hell Scythe as part of that engine as well. It's also a good removal tool. You can use this card in a lot of ways. Obviously the most primary is to just bring back Magna and heal 1, and then -6 one of their dudes, and then just draw off Digimon Emperor. But you can also use it to bring back like Salamon, and then delete it, and then recover. Like, it gives you a body that you can swing with that still gives you the recovery. Like, I don't know. You usually wouldn't bring back Salamon over Magna, and you usually wouldn't bring back Harrismon over Magna either, because Magna does everything he needs to right off the bat. Whereas the only reason you'd want to bring Harris back is if you want to tactical retreat it right away, so that way you can choke them at 1, as well as you effectively have recovered 2. We are playing 4 Chaos Dag, 3 Lonk, and then my personal favorite tech, 3 Schwarz-Lersatz. This card, so first off, Chaos Dag, it's Chaos Dag. It's like the best removal tool in the game. Lonk is right behind it. Especially if you are at exactly 3 security, this card has insane value. Being able to neg 12 something and then throw something into their security stack, you have 2 of the most unique forms of removal in the game at that point. And then Schwartz is in here as a meta call against stuff like Balloon Lord and other just going wide decks. Because if you've ever played setcon, or been very good against setcon, you'll notice that usually the matchup goes in the favor of those who go very wide. Because setcon doesn't often be able to answer a wide board without giving your opponent a ton of memory. And by you having that like middle ground of having like 3 or 4 Digimon in play, and that's it, so that way Death X still costs your opponent anywhere from 8 to 11 memory. Schwartz and Rapidmon are in here to make that cheaper. Especially since you play the Mimis, you can drop this down to a 3-drop, and then you can draw off Digimon Emperor. So like, this card has a lot of value if you have an optimal setup. Oh, and I don't think I showed earlier, we're just playing Upamon as our Digi-Egg, since it's the most versatile with draw power, and it gives you the ability to hold on to your rookie. Obviously, there's some times where you don't want to do that, but like the Upamon, it rewards you for being patient with that rookie, and its synergy with Salamon definitely helps. So that is our current setcon list. I have a couple of other things in the works for this, and you know, as the avid control player, you're always editing a control deck to work for your meta. So, you know, this will probably be a card or two different here soon. But so far, so good. It's played very good into the matchups where I think it's bad against. The only matchup I haven't tested it against that I know, at least from other people saying so, is Red Hybrid, being probably our hardest matchup. And that's strictly because they have a card that literally turns off setcon, being Aldemon, and an ability to just randomly security check me for like 3 or 4 damage. So I do need to test that matchup. I need to test a few others. This has done surprisingly well against Black War Gray. And it's done surprisingly well against stuff like Machine Dramon. Hunter is a little bit of a toss-up. From what I can tell in that matchup, you usually need to see Death X in order to win that matchup. Because Hunter, it has a little bit of trouble removing Death X at all, let alone removing up to 4 of them. However, if Death X is not seen in that matchup, then there's a very good chance that Hunter will outgrind it, and sometimes will just steal your security away from you. Because, like, they'll go in with, like, a jamming 3 security check superior mode and hit you for 6 damage in a row. Because you just so happen to not hit anything good in your security stack, or you hit, like, Holy Wave into Tactical Retreat and stuff like that. So they'll, like, burn through all your good healing options. And if they're playing the Purple U, then they can create an advantage engine and just grind you out of the game with no extra effort whatsoever. And then we'll just drop Quartzmon and just lock you out of your Tamers and stuff. It's a hard matchup, and it's really dependent on seeing Death X. So that's honestly why we're playing the 4 Death X, is for matchups like Hunter. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. If you have any comments about it or want to give me your suggestions for your setcon list, go ahead and leave those in the comments. I will read any bit of, you know, anything I can read about setcon, because it is my favorite deck, you know, against the naysayers. But with that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day and hope you enjoyed the profile. If you enjoyed that video and want to see more, feel free to click on the most recent video link on the left side of the video, or just go to my channel link and check out all the awesome Digimon content I have for you there. While you're there, smash the subscribe button for me so we can keep the channel going. Also, more content on my TikTok about Digimon news, card releases, and just general rants about the card game, and the occasional random video. Don't forget to answer the question of the week at the bottom of this video down in the comment section, and as always, have a diabolical day.